You need the link, Jill?
I got it.
Okay. Remember to mute that audio on the YouTube.
Done.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, Usame, I have to figure out how to make that full screen again. See if I can do that.
What would you like to do? Full screen?
Right now it's in a tiny little box. There, okay.
I was sharing our beautiful welcome message.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you share it? Can you share it again? Let me just see what that looks like.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. Yeah.
So right now it's the background, plus for our YouTube audience, it is your video.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Your tech helper is there?
Yes.
Hi, tech helper.
Hello.
Always just right off camera.
Oh, I heard that, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Here's everybody and then participants. Okay. Great. It looks like participant-wise, students are in here, and I guess everybody else might be watching over YouTube because I don't have anybody else here that looks like they're not a student.
It's on YouTube.
Okay, great. My technical helper confirmed we're out live over YouTube now.
Man, Dan, do you have time to bring over a green screen?
Don't play any music or you'll get kicked off of YouTube.
Okay, I think I've done my checklist. I have Jill and Usame as co-hosts, and I'm streaming live, so we're good. We're good. All right, we'll give it another minute. It's almost 7 o'clock, and then we'll get started. My dog Buster is in the shot. Yeah, Buster's now internet famous.
Where's Usame's kittens?
Okay.
They are sleeping outside with mom.
Don't you let Archie in?
No, no.
Okay, great. We have all faculty here too. We have John and Kathy, Jerry, Jill, Nune, Usame. Okay. All right, welcome to everyone. I think just a couple more people are still joining. What do you think, Usame? Should get started or
I would give it a couple minutes. I would give another minute or two.
another minute or two? Okay, no problem. That sounds good.
I agree with Professor Smith. I was muted. I'm sorry.
Okay, sounds good.
See, I was laughing at Jay-Z not being able to find the mic button last meeting. Same thing is happening to me. There's a tradition where I come from. You don't die without doing the same mistake that you criticize the other person with.
Oh, really?
Yes, you will do the same thing. If you laughed at somebody before you die, you will definitely do it too in your life.
Are you planning to die tonight?
Before you die, I said.
I think I'm going to die 1,000 deaths.
Okay. Jill, you're managing mics too, if you need to. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And social media. So I'm trying to
Thanks.
do all that as well.
Great. Appreciate it. Usame, I'll wait for you to give me the cue. Kathy, how did you do all those years of production? You did live production too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did hours and hours of live production every day.
Man, that's a nail biter.
You don't think about it after a while. It just kind of flows. You know, when you have pros around you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's not the case tonight.
Yes, it is. Look at all those students. Look at all the stuff they've done.
Yeah, I was only talking about myself. But yes, the students, yes, for sure.
Dr. Francis, it is time.
It is time. Okay, counting down. 3, 2, 1, ready to go.
3, 2, 1, you're on.
Okay, great. All right, so hello everyone and welcome to the Cabrini Communication Department Senior Recognition Ceremony. I am Dawn Francis and I'm chair of the Communication Department. Tonight we celebrate the tremendous achievements of our department majors. This celebration includes the much anticipated official unveiling of our 2 senior capstone projects in senior convergence, as well as an announcement of our department medal winners. In recognizing the students tonight, we also recognize all of you who are family and friends of these students and who supported them throughout their educational journey. You are their first teachers. You've been their lifelong educators, and we're grateful to have learned with and from your son and daughter over these last couple years. As we kick off tonight's ceremony, what I'd like to do is ask the communication faculty members here to unmute themselves and introduce themselves to you. We'll start with Dr. Cordes.
Hi, I'm John Cordes. Congratulations, guys. It's a great accomplishment that you've done.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nuna Grigorian. Congratulations.
Hello, seniors. Great to see you all. You've made it. This is Usame Tunagar.
Hi, guys. It's good to see everybody. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Jerry Zurich. You guys look great tonight. Congratulations.
Hello, seniors. It's Jillian Smith, Associate Director for Student Media. I wish we were doing this live, but this is second best. You all look wonderful.
Okay, we're going to do a rundown of the agenda here tonight. So we're doing our welcomes and introductions now, and in a moment we'll get to opening remarks. After that, we're going to announce the Communication Department Medal Awards, and then the Medal Award winners will address the student body here, the class of 2020, with their remarks. Then we will have the unveiling of the senior capstone courses. We'll start with the Senior Convergence course. My course with Emily Miller will be the student presenting with me. And then we have Kathy's course, the presentation of the Honors Convergence site. And Kathy has a few of her students who are presenting with her. And then we'll bring things to a close this evening. So that's the lineup. Okay, Same, we're all set. So moving to opening remarks. As our seniors graduate from Cabrini University, they'll be moving into professional roles or continuing their learning in graduate school. They will take with them not only their knowledge of the communication discipline, but also a sense of purpose and how to apply it. Cabrini's mission is one of academic excellence, leadership development, and a commitment to social justice. We educate hearts here as well as minds. When educating a heart, we're not simply concerned with students' intellectual growth, we're concerned with their moral growth in their capacity to care for others, and their growth in their commitment to serve others with the communication skills that they possess. Students at Cabrini, and especially in the comm department, have been taught to see the suffering in the world, to discern its root causes, and to respond by applying their stories, their skills in telling stories about injustice. We call this telling stories that matter. Every Cabrini Comm student here tonight will take with them upon graduation how to problem solve with integrity, how to analyze with compassion, and how to work in service of the dignity for all. Here to tell us more about students' growth from freshman year to today, both in terms of Cabrini's mission and also how it manifests in the department, is Assistant Professor of Video Production, Usame Tuniger.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for that great opening remark, Dr. Francis. This is the part of the program where we generally hear our very own Dr. Zurich. He represents the tradition, the legacy of communication department, but he was generous enough to let a younger person like myself to go and share a few few words highlighting the trajectory of 4 years of what a communication department student goes through. Before specifying each year and the progression, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the time that we're going through. We are going through definitely an unprecedented time. The big elephant, it's not even an elephant in the room, the big context right now for the last 2 months, without any hesitation, is COVID, is Corona times. None of the seniors or none of the professors who are in this room right now would have guessed that we would be doing our senior appreciation night or our graduation or the last 2 months of our school online, trying to figure out Zoom, trying to figure out Collaborate, trying to figure out ways in which we can continue editing and shooting our videos, right? So we're definitely in unprecedented times. The time of Corona era, for my money, has also brought about a lot of silver linings, has been a wake-up call to many of us. For the last 2 months, we have been looking into the mirror because of the fact that we cannot go out and then continue with our fast-paced lifestyles. We have been challenged to see a lot of things that we have chosen not to look at for the last so many years. So Corona has become a main disruptor, bringing down the facades that exist in our society, or it has become a major highlighter, highlighting a lot of the injustices and issues of inequities. It has brought it to the forefront. The professors here, we have been lucky enough in that we all still have our jobs able to teach online, but there are so many other people, because of the industries they work in, they have been laid off. So that is a privilege. The brown and black bodies have been dying disproportionately, just like it has been happening across the world from this disease. Poorer people have been dying disproportionately because of this disease. The issues around healthcare, issues around economic inequalities have come to the foreground. And it has also brought down another facade. So many things that we took for granted with regards to our political realities, so many things that we thought could never happen given the way our government works, have been disrupted. All of a sudden overnight, so many things that we thought could not happen is actually right now happening. The issues around universal health care was almost an unspoken, almost a taboo, that now a lot of people are talking about it. The issue around universal income that Dr. Martin Luther King spoke so much about towards the end of his career is right now something that many people are discussing. So I would say, not as a Cabrini professor, I would say, given the Corona realities, this is among all different eras, all different times, this is the best time to have a Cabrini education. And this is the best time, actually, this is the time that so many other schools should follow suit, because there are many other schools that pay lip service to issues around social justice. But it is no exaggeration by whatsoever that Cabrini University lives by social justice. And if I were to unmute any of the microphones and let any of our senior students talk about it, they would immediately talk about it. It has become second nature to them. So when we talk about education of the heart with an emphasis on social justice, this is something that Cabrini University lives by. Corona era, as its disruption of the facade, is right now calling us and asking us as the next generation. It is asking us, are we going to be enablers of business as usual, or are we going to be disruptors of the society for the betterment of the society? Are we going to be enablers of privileges that we're blessed with, or are we going to be disruptors where that privilege is better shared across the social strata in this society? Cabrini education says we are the disruptors. Not all graduates might end up being major disruptors, but we know what it means to be a disruptor. This might be a repetition for some of our students, but especially for our family members and relatives who are listening on YouTube, and also as a refresher for our students, I'm going to take 2 minutes to highlight how we get to this level of positive disruption and how we get to this level of telling stories that matters. In Cabrini University, particularly as communication students. As soon as we come in as freshmen, all Cabrini University students take the first class of Justice Matters curriculum, which is ECG, Engagement with Common Good 100, where we as students are challenged to look into the mirror for the first time. It is a class where we become self-aware. It is a class where we ask what type of privileges that we have, because each one of us might have a privilege along the lines of race, along the lines of gender, along the lines of economic status, along the lines of able-bodiedness. Throughout that semester, we are challenged to become self-aware, particularly for many of our communication students who decide to go through the communication learning community experience. They take Dr. Zurek's ECG 100, which ends with a simulation whose purpose is to recognize the self-awareness and share it with a group of audience. They do a simulation at the end of the semester, fall semester at Cabrini Day. And these seniors, many of them who went through COM-LC experience, have done a simulation called We Did Nothing Wrong 4 years ago, which was to highlight the human experience of Syrian refugees. It was about empathizing with Syrian refugees. It was about putting a picture to their realities. It was about going beyond us and them dichotomy, and then building and then reaching a level of humanization when it comes to the experience of our immigrant brothers and sisters, especially Syrian refugees. After they achieve to a good extent this concept of self-awareness, our students move on to ECG 200, where now that they know, now that they recognize their privileges, how can you serve a group of people who do not have these privileges? So depending on the class that you take, depending on the topic, you are positioned with a local community abroad or in the nation, and you are given opportunities to serve. Particularly as it relates to us, many of our students have taken a variety of ECG 200 classes. One ECG 200 class that that is very dear to our heart is the ECG 200 class that Dr. Zurek teaches with many COM students, where our students learn about history of Guatemala. And then at the end, in the middle of the semester, they go to a particular community, the community of San Lucas, and spend a week with the citizens of Guatemala. They now are able to not only empathize through intellectual reading, they put a picture, blood and bone, flesh picture to that experience. And one example I like to share from our students is one of our students, Anjanilla Capozzi, who is graduating today, went through this experience. She was so impressed and she was so influenced by this experience. She wanted to go back and she wanted to tell the stories of these great people of Guatemala that many of us have never heard about. So her way of service after self-awareness was to tell stories, was to bring attention to this experience. And she ended up taking thousands of beautiful pictures, calling attention. And then she ended up with a website where it's an interactive map where you can click on different parts of the map, and then pictures from 18 different communities of San Lucas pop up, and you are able to relate to their experiences. So telling stories for our communication department students start from day one, and ECG experience of social justice is constantly feeding and constantly motivating their stories. After ECG 100, self-awareness, 200, service, what happens with 300? Anyone has a guess? If, say today, if this was not Corona times, if we went out to a new restaurant and tried a new meal, what would we do? What would we do? Many of us would immediately go to our Instagram and say, listen, I just checked this new John. This place is great. You should come and check this cheesesteak out, or you should come and check this new dessert out. This is awesome. We would be immediately sharing with other people, because when you taste something, you want others to taste the same thing. You want to share. You want to build a community around that beautiful experience. Similarly, our ECG 300 students, because now that they have become self-aware and started serving, they want to share that with others. They want to do advocacy. This comes as a natural result. So all of our students in ECG 300 do advocacy. Many of them go down to DC with Dr. Zurek and with other professors like Abel Rodriguez, and they do advocacy for the cases that they've been learning about and that they've been in service of. The special edge that our communication department students get, however, is that all of the experience that we gain through these triage of ECGs, where they learn self-awareness, service, and practice advocacy, that we ended up with a pinnacle, that we ended up with our capstone project in our senior year, where everything they have learned and experienced, all the while building all multimedia production skills, it couples, they're all coupled with and end up in what we call convergence, where among our faculty, we like to call ECG 400. Don't tell other departments. This is our own unique touch. We do our convergence projects, our capstone projects, we treat it as ECG 400, where we put into practice everything that we have learned through our Justice Matters curriculum, all the production qualities, production skills that we have learned, and then we put it to use where we also learn what we call citizen solutions journalism, where we do not only highlight, where we do not only bring awareness to the particular issue that each class selects, we also provide end users how they can help make change, how they can do their part after they have learned, they have found about these particular issues. I'm not going to go into the details of these convergence projects, because that's the remainder of our program. In closing, what I like to say is, at the end of this 4-year experience, at a varying levels, all of our students imbue aspects of social justice work, and they all know the concept of telling stories and creating media for social good, for the betterment of society, and for tackling particular social justice issues. Going back to my first point, after Corona, we are going to enter a new reality, a new normal, where social justice issues will be actually more in the forefront. Our students are going to do great work. And some of our students who might not be thinking about this come age 30, age 35, all of a sudden, so many of the things they have learned in Cabrini slowly will be itching, and then will be knocking on their doors, and then they're going to think about also about how to become disruptors for social good. Without further ado, I know I went way over my time limit, which is not new, but to the surprise of most of my students, I stayed on topic. This is the first time that it happened in the last 3 years. I did not go on a tangent. So with that, I give the mic back to Dr. Francis, who will, along with Dr. Zurek, announce our medal winners.
Yeah. Usame, you have always been a hard act to follow, but I got to tell you, it was just beautiful to hear you talk about the progression of students' development through engagements with the common good, embedded also within our communication department and how they develop skills. They have this mindset for social justice. I mean, you just explained it so beautifully. So I can't thank you enough. It's almost like our work here is done with explanations moving forward for what we're doing. You really laid it out. And so, as always, like I said, hard act to follow. But yes, so we are going to move on in the program to the department medal winners. I am going to ask Dr. Jerry Zurich to talk a little bit about the medal and its meaning, and then he will introduce the first of our 2 department medal winners.
Great. Thanks so much, Dawn. So the communication department, all departments get to give a medal to their top student. This year was really hard, and we ended up with a tie. And how we choose the department medal winners are those with not just the highest GPA in the department, but also students who have demonstrated real leadership abilities. So they're selected by the department faculty. And this year, as Dawn said, we have 2 winners who have earned this recognition. And I get the opportunity to announce the first winner. The first winner is in a quiet and unassuming way, and you all know who that is now, Sydney Lynch has contributed greatly to Cabrini University over her past 4 years. She's the type of person who others look to for steadiness and advice. In her very first semester, the ComLC, as Usame talked about, came up with a simulation, and she was one of the students who took on leadership during that semester and helped plan the simulation and then create the website afterwards about the Syrian refugee crisis. And so this class rose to the challenge and won first place for the best presentation at Cabrini Day. Then Sydney, as a sophomore, continued to grow as a writer and submitted really strong stories to Loquitur. And because of her hard work as a sophomore, she was selected to be a Loquitur Media managing editor during her junior year. Senior year, Sydney was elected by her peers to be the Honors Convergence class's project manager of their year-long multimedia culminating project. Outside of her classes, she was recruited to be a classroom coach for 5 different classes. She's been one of the key admission department ambassadors for the past 3 years. She's received numerous academic honors that I won't list. She was captain of the tennis team since her sophomore year, I believe. So Sydney is one of those wonderful people who doesn't call attention to herself, but provides outstanding leadership and selfless, dedicated service in many areas of the college. Cabrini is much the richer for her 4 years, and so I hope we honor her with this award today that she so richly deserves. She'll receive the department medal in August, hopefully on a stage. And she's also getting Who's Who this year as one of the students from our department who was elected to Who's Who. So congratulations, Sydney.
Okay, great. So now I have the pleasure of introducing our department's second award winner, Department Medal Award winner. And many of the same traits that Dr. Zurich just mentioned for Sydney, I could also say a lot about Amanda Zacharias, who is the next medal winner. Unassuming, diligent worker, not the loudest person in the room, but always the person in the room who just knows how to get it done. So I'm going to say a couple words here about Amanda too. So Amanda started at Cabrini in her junior year after earning her associate's degree in digital broadcasting from Montco and working professionally for 2 years. From 2018 to today, Amanda has poured herself into the Digicom and social media major, as a goal-driven and really highly focused student. And while her achievements and academic abilities are impressive, what strikes me the most about Amanda is her interest in helping others, in mentoring others, and in empowering them to be successful. I was so impressed by this that I asked Amanda to be my classroom coach for multimedia story creation. Not one, not two, but 3 times. And if I could, I would ask Amanda to be my coach 4, 5, and 6 times over too. I mean, she's just a phenomenal person, phenomenal coach. She coaches me, she coaches the students. It's just, you know, she's the go-to person, knows what to do in any situation. And that's just, it's a rarity and it's something to applaud. Amanda has exhibited leadership in all her department projects, most notably on our senior capstone website that we'll reveal here tonight. Her dedication to a job well done on the website not only enabled her to produce many significant pieces, but she went above and beyond and always volunteered to help others on the project, sitting in and helping them technically, but also coaching them and helping them think through, reason through good questions to ask of their sources, how to envision the story and the way it would come together. I mean, she's got not just the technical skills, she's got the vision, the ability, the drive. She's that whole package. Words I would use to describe Amanda include goal-driven, determined, professional, but also patient, caring, and committed to helping others succeed. And that's among her student peers and among the comm faculty too. She's wonderful that way. And so it is my distinct honor to present Amanda with this virtual department medal that I will hopefully give to Amanda in person in August on a stage when I get to put that over her neck and, and thank her for her contributions to the department and congratulate her on a job well done. So I just want to really applaud both Amanda and Sydney. Can we give them all a hand? Good work to the both of you. And so now I would like to turn it over to Sydney, and then Amanda will follow, but I know that they both have some remarks to share with the class of 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Francis, and thank you to the entire comm faculty. This is an absolute honor and for the opportunity to say a few words. So during my freshman year, I was a member of the communications learning community. I was a very shy student, the type of student who did my work, but didn't speak up very much during class. And Dr. Zurich was having none of that. So for our Cabrini Day simulation, we did nothing wrong based on the Syrian refugee crisis. Dr. Zurich encouraged me to lead the advocacy table, knowing that I would have to talk to every person who went through the simulation. It was this first experience of personal leadership that my confidence as a student began to grow. During my time in the comm department, I was a staff writer for the Loquitur, a DJ for Cavalier Radio, classroom coach. I served as the writing managing editor of the Loquitur, working with a lot of different writers, spending nights in the newsroom that turned into early hours of the morning, laying out the newspaper with the entire editorial team. And this year, as the project manager of the Honors Convergence site, Education Equity for All, I cannot thank every professor and classmate enough for enhancing these experiences. Each experience came with a different personal lesson, but with the overarching theme of social justice and telling stories that matter. Dr. Francis, Dr. Zurich, Dr. G, Dr. Cortez, Usame, Jill, and Kathy, thank you for all of your advice, encouraging words, and open office door policy prompting many impromptu visits over the years. We appreciate those very much. On May 15th, I spent my last day in the newsroom. After all the planning and the work was done, I had time to reflect on my last 4 years here at Cabrini. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized how much time I have spent in the newsroom, whether it be for class, holding a meeting, or just catching up on work and hanging out with friends. I wouldn't change a second of it. Class of 2020, this is definitely not the senior year we expected, but it has made us stronger. We have all received an education of the heart here at Cabrini University, and I know that you will all exercise your talents and do great things after graduation. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you all in August. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Great, Amanda.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Francis, for all those kind words, and thank you everyone for joining us on this new journey we have found ourselves part of. Who would have thought that after years of showing up early to classes and spending late nights editing, that would all come to an end at home? But here we are, still making strides to work just as hard. Now that we have finished our last finals week here at Cabrini, we look back at our portfolio sites and everything we have accomplished. And wow, we really do have a lot to offer. Coming to Cabrini as a transfer, I found myself eager to be part of this comm department community. During my first semester, like Dr. Francis mentioned, I was part of the multimedia story creation class, where I put my video production skills into high gear. It was in that class where I had my first impressions of the comm department, its people, its workflow, and its hands-on style. I was never one for long, drawn-out lectures, so this department was perfect for me to get to work and grow my skills. For each story that I worked on, I was proud of it. We were always asked to reflect on our pieces at the end, and each time I was proud of the fact that I could step back, look at the bigger picture, look at the story I was telling. Rather than focus in on the nitty-gritty of audio and video, it was about the story. And from that point on, I worked with others to come to that same realization that yes, video and audio are important, but you can't just cut random clips together and hope that it works. You really have to focus in on the story. And as a classroom coach, that is what I would say I became most proud of. Seeing students go from throwing clips together to being able to tell a full multimedia story. And then with my peers, we moved into our fall convergence class that you'll see later tonight. We created videos and podcasts and text pieces all about a social justice topic. We worked through the storytelling process multiple times, and we really did need more than one try to get it right sometimes. But in the end, we worked really hard telling stories that explain the issues we found, discovered threats, and the many solutions that are out there. Seeing how we all worked together throughout the semester to put this great site together, I can say that we should all really be proud of the stories we uncover and the work that we put into producing it in a meaningful way. Everyone really did a great job of bringing their years of experience to these projects, and I hope everyone is able to use this site as a great demonstration of their work and abilities to take them even further. I especially want to make sure that the faculty here know the impact they've had on all of us. As I spent my senior year in Journalism 1 with Jay-Z, I got to see just what all the talk was about. Everyone's talked a big game about that class, but deep down, we know it wasn't all that bad. And those skills really came in handy in Convergence. And unfortunately, I didn't get as much time with Dr. G as I wanted, but I really value what she had to offer. Within my internship, I'm using media analytics every day, and I don't think I would have realized that passion without her class. And we all know that Usame is our go-to person, whether we need a distraction or our project is falling apart. So thanks, Usame, for being the most down-to-earth person that can react to any situation in the way that we need it. Even though your cell phone jail was kind of out of pocket, know that we respect you and all that you have to teach us. Dr. Francis has had a special place in my Cabrini journey. She was the first person I met when I came to campus. And since that day, she's been there for everything, in helping me get my credits transferred to planning out every semester's course load to make sure that I could graduate on time. She's been there. So thank you for everything that you've done for all of us here in the comm department. We've had a great time these last couple of years, and I feel honored that I was so welcome to the comm department family. Thank you to every one of my classmates that made me feel welcomed and valued me for what I have to offer. I can't tell you how great it was to be able to go around the room and help students reconnect their media when it went offline, sync multiple audio sources, improve file organization, and especially find all those projects that just seem to magically disappear off of a hard drive. I love problem solving with all of you, and I hope that we continue to work together even after we aren't just down the hall from one another. I know we have a lot to offer this world, and I'm excited to take it on with all of you in my corner.
That's terrific, Amanda. Thank you so much. Great job to both of them as department medal winners. Yeah, 2 thumbs up, like Usame said. Just great. Thank you for those remarks. Okay, so we now move to the unveiling of the communication convergence sites. So tonight marks the premiere of 2 important websites, both designed and developed by our talented class of seniors as multimedia storytellers. All seniors in the communication department here at Cabrini University are required to take a capstone course in the communication or digital communication and social media major before they graduate. This course may be a year long, as in the case of Professor Kathy Youngman's Honors Convergence course, or a semester long, as in the case of the fall and spring senior convergence courses. Either way, students' capstone experience is designed to combine their multimedia and project management skills to educate the public about an injustice in society. Everything that our students have learned in their Justice Matters core curriculum at Cabrini and in their major instruction in the department is brought together in these capstone courses that require students to be digital storytellers for the common good. I'd now like to have us focus on the website produced by the students in my Senior Convergence Media for Social Justice course. Students in both the fall 2019 and spring 2020 semesters worked to examine the issues of voting justice and voting rights. Could there be a more polarized topic today than voting rights? The students who worked on this website not only examined the issues and root causes of voter suppression and disenfranchisement, they took an appreciative approach and examined the solutions necessary to address these issues. Their goal for this website was to get young people, 18 to 29-year-olds, to vote and become engaged in civic life. This is no small task, considering this group is traditionally disengaged in the political process. But students in this course were undeterred by this reality. Instead, they created this website that you're about to see, named youthvotersunite.com, hoping for just that young voters would indeed unite for the good of their future. Before taking you on a journey through the website, it would give me great pleasure to first introduce you to the students in my Senior Convergence course who worked so hard on the site's creation. Thank you, Asame. I'm just going to move my window here so I can see everybody. Okay, first up, Justin Barnes. Justin did an explainer piece on how celebrities can influence the voting process and dug into the threat of gerrymandering. He also examined a good government group, the Committee of 70. Next. Thanks. Ange Capozzi took a look at voting machines and wrote an explainer piece that examined how they changed over the years. She also talked to a voting fairness expert, Jamie Mogul, about the vulnerability of our election systems, and she focused on a solution organization called Campus Vote Project. Matt DiMaria did a couple different explainers and telling young voters how they could register to vote, the difference between a primary and general election, and what happens at the polling place. He also examined gerrymandering in the state of PA and focused on the sentencing project. Mike Gerzabek talked to students or anybody who would be users of our site on how to register in multiple different states, focused on prison gerrymandering, and looked at issues of gerrymandering that the solution organization Draw the Lines PA was in charge of trying to come to solutions about. Tyler Kostak was focused on why your vote in the midterm election means more. He looked at voter purging and focused on solution organization headcount. Liz Liabetti was interested in figuring out why someone could win the national popular vote but still lose the election. And so she focused on the national popular vote interstate compact and then looked at threats to voting justice through felony disenfranchisement. Going hand in hand with that, she talked to the solution organization sentencing project. Maddie Logue did an explainer on how candidates are using digital and social media in their campaigns. She examined the threat of limiting early voting and focused on headcount. Stephanie McClellan talked about the role of the Electoral College in an election. She also examined the gutting of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 by Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, and her solution organization was Voting Smarter. Ryan McDevitt examined the role of education in voting rights, talked about the political influence in map drawing, and then in hand with that, talked to the producer of Line in the Street, a docuseries focused on gerrymandering. Emily Miller looked at the role of generational bias in youth voting. She also looked at gerrymandering also then this time as racial gerrymandering as a civil rights issue. And then she focused on Generation Citizen and their desire to bring the voting age down to 16 through their Vote 16 USA campaign. Ricky Miller talked about politics 101, right? Things that young people wish they knew, but did not know about politics and were always afraid to ask. And so he tackled that in his explainer. He also looked at race and voter ID laws as a threat, and then examined the Good Government Group and reported on them, Committee of 70. Josh Sanchez looked at the history of voting rights for people of color. His threats to voting justice piece focused on the lack of civic education in K through 12 settings and how that led to a lack of youth participation in politics. His solution organization was the NAACP. Abby Scardelletti did an explainer piece on the women's fight for the right to vote. Her threats focus was voter purging. And then she also looked at solution organization Draw the Lines PA and their fight against gerrymandering. Harrison Schott talked about how candidates staff their campaigns, focused on felony disenfranchisement as a threat, and then also looked at the sentencing project. Ava Solar was focused on why young people don't vote. She looked at voter ID laws and then talked to another Good Government Group, League of Women Voters. Melissa Szymborski was focused on the politics of gun violence, voter purging, and also focused on the League of Women Voters. Catherine Taylor talked about how a candidate earns a spot on the ballot, talked about the threats to voter ID laws and college students in particular, and Draw the Lines PA. Connor Tustin did an explainer on why some states are more gerrymandered than others. He focused on the threat of voter purging, and he talked to the group Circle at Tufts University that engages in research on youth and civic learning. Gianni Williams Clark did an explainer on the impact of one person's vote. Yes, it can make a difference. And she examined the threats of limiting early voting and talked to a committee of 70. Megan Willing did an explainer on the history of voting and generational biases, generational differences, and also the voting process. Her focus for threats was partisan gerrymandering, and she talked to Carol Cunningham, who is the founder of Fair Districts PA. She also focused on headcount as a solution organization. And last but not least, certainly, is Amanda Zacharias, who did an explainer piece on what is the Electoral College, and also a separate one on how a candidate can win the national popular vote losing an election. And then she talked about the threats of limiting early voting, talked to Senator Dalen Leach to put that story together, and then focused on the Committee of 70. So I now want to hand it over to Emily Miller, a student in my Spring 2020 Senior Convergence Capstone course, who will introduce you to the site and take you on a tour of it. So take it away, Emily.
Good evening, friends, family, and new graduates. Congratulations to everyone. Once again, my name is Emily Miller. I am in the graduating class this year and was an active contributor to YouthVotersUnite.com. It has been quite the journey to get to where we are today, and everyone should be really proud of what we've been able to accomplish and the growth that we've all experienced. We all entered this senior capstone experience with different levels of knowledge surrounding voting rights, voter suppression, and even voting and the election process in general. In fact, each of us had a different history with voting, some of us never taking part in an election at all. Personally, I've always considered voting to be an important right and responsibility, and one that I plan on exercising from an early age and did once I was eligible. In fact, I spent a short time in high school campaigning for my political history teacher, Chris Monero, to become a chairman on the Plymouth Township Council. He won and is now in his second term. Despite this, however, the specifics of the voting process and voter suppression tools were largely lost on me. I came to find through discussions with classmates that many of them felt the same way. The interesting thing about Youth Voters Unite is that while we are the creators, we are also the audience. While speaking to experts and hearing the stories about those affected on these issues, we watch ourselves evolve both as masters of our journalistic craft and champions of voting justice for all. We are also now a resource for young voters like ourselves who feel that they don't know enough to vote or that their vote won't matter. So how did we do it? How did we come to create this robust website for voting justice? This is something we've been working towards for the last 4 years of our lives. Since our first communications class, we have been told that we will be storytellers for those whose voices need to be amplified, and we'll do it using every tool that we have. The reporting process we've been taught consists of initial understanding stage, which in this case meant learning the history of voting rights, including topics such as changes to the voting age, civil rights movement, and the women's suffrage, and so on. We conducted primary and secondary research, found reputable and available sources, conducted structured interviews, and spent endless nights editing in the comm wing, which this semester unfortunately was our homes, which culminated into a well-produced media assets, whether it be text, audio, or video, that effectively conveys the message we've been working so hard to do justice. Utilizing this process and delivering content across multiple platforms has been vital towards this website's successful launch today and has equipped us to apply this process in the future as communicators for the common good. From our collaborative efforts on Youth Voters Unite, we have learned a few things for sure. Voter suppression is real. It's in our history and it's here today. We also know that we are in the midst of an important time in our election history, and young people are not voting at the rate of older generations, despite having passionate ideas for the future. What we found out, and what I'm about to show you, is that many young people don't vote for a variety of reasons, and many are unaware of the plethora of issues that may inhibit individuals from voting based on where they live, the education that they receive, and the color of their skin. And with that, I would like to take you briefly through Youth Voters Unite, if you bear with me for a second. Okay, Dr. Francis, can I get confirmation that you can see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, this is our welcome page when you go on to Youth Voters Unite. And if we scroll down, you can see our mission and our message. So young people tend not to vote. And as I previously stated, this is for a variety of reasons, but namely because they feel as though they are not educated enough or that their vote doesn't matter. And so we set out to be a resource against this idea. If we scroll down, we can see a slider made of questions from Cabrini students from our own community and our own fellow youth peers. And these have questions that pertain to the popular vote, the electoral college, and how to register to vote. And so it was these questions that we wanted to keep in mind when we were making these media assets for this website. And so here you can see all of our featured works. We have some in text, of course, we have our videos, and then we also have audio. And before I go on, I want to say each of us were required to make a text piece, an audio piece, and a video piece across each of these categories of explainers, threats, and solutions. Something notable about the featured audios here is that they are vox pops. And if you don't know what a vox pop is, if you've ever seen someone go into a location with a microphone and just go up to people and ask them questions, that's what's called like a man on the street type interview, and that is what a vox pop is. And so we did that with our own Cabrini community to gain insight into how people were feeling about voting, what people knew about voting. And then we have our why vote slider. And so just as I said, we entered this with different levels of knowledge. We also had different ideas about voting and why we all should be voting. And so that's some insight into that. And of course, Youth Voters Unite is a transmedia storytelling project. And so we want to be able to showcase our work through a multitude of platforms. So all of our social medias are linked here. And I will just show you our Instagram. This is our official Instagram page. As you can see, there are a lot of our social media teasers here. I'll just show you one for reference. So we were able to pick our best segment from our pieces, and then we were able to audiogram them. And so we could have a visual set to them as well as captions. We made our own descriptions. We have an easy link here for people to go to the website and view the work. And we also, of course, tag them correctly so that people can find us. So now I want to talk a little bit about the 3 categories that we created media pieces for. They were explainers, threats, and solutions. And as I said, each of us had to make a text piece, an audio piece, and a video piece across these 3 categories. And so explainers are just what they sound like. They set out to do just that, explain a topic surrounding voting rights or voter suppression. And so as we scroll down, We can see the featured videos here. They do answer some of the questions that were in that slider from Cabrini students. We have a topic about the popular vote, about the Electoral College. We have a video about how your vote makes the difference. And then when you come down here, you can see there are a ton of videos on how to register to vote in different states, which is something that youth voters might not be aware of, that it is different to register in each state. It's something that you might not be aware of. And so it's important to us to be a resource on that. As we can scroll down, you can see we also have feature text pieces about civic education, again, about the Electoral College, how celebrities influence the voting process. I would like to take you briefly through my piece about generational bias. And so initially this piece came about seeing the aftermath of the 2016 election, specifically on social media. And this was my own observation. I don't think it's a controversial statement to say that our political climate is very polarizing. It seems that everybody has a different opinion about everything, and nobody can seem to agree. And so I was seeing a lot of division between generations, namely on social media platforms like Facebook. This also has a little bit of a personal touch for me. I am someone who was raised by their grandparents, and so we do have that big generational gap, and we do tend to disagree politically. And while it has never affected my ability to vote and never affected the way that I vote, I could only imagine that it might for some youth voters. And so this was something that I really wanted to explore. And so as I take you through it, I just want to note, I mentioned primary and secondary research before, and I just wanted to note the examples in here. Some of the primary research I was able to do, I was able to speak with Benjamin Jones, who wrote his thesis for the University of Lynchburg. Are they young or are they different? A comparative study of voting millennials and baby boomers. And this research really backed up my secondary research from the Pew Research Center, which was statistical information about the largest gap in ideologies being between the baby boomers and the millennial generations. In addition, some primary research I was able to do was I was able to conduct my own polls across my own social media platforms, across my own peers, and analyze my own data from that. And what I found is that there is an overall pattern of discouragement on youth voting from older generations, and it's really going to be an attitude of commonality and finding common ground that will have a positive impact towards youth voting rates. So now I want to take you through our threats pieces. And threat pieces, they describe a voter suppression tactic or injustice that is affecting a people's ability to vote, and then furthermore, how it is suppressing them. So once again, I'll take you down to our video examples, and you can see topics such as voter ID laws, voter purging, gerrymandering, and we have a lot of notable sources here, especially Cheryl Stolberg, who is a congressional correspondent for the New York Times, and that's here in Stephanie's piece down here in Reversing the Safeguards of the Voting Rights Act. We also have Carol Cunnenholm, who did our piece on gerrymandering. We have Jamie Mogul, who did the piece on election vulnerability. She's also a member of the League of Women Voters. She also was able to come and speak to us as a class, which was really insightful. But I want to take you down here to our audio pieces. You can see our text pieces here. But I wanted to highlight Justin Barnes's pieces here on gerrymandering in Pennsylvania. If you don't know what gerrymandering is, basically it is the unfair redrawing of district maps within a state where one party draws it in such a way to skew the advantage towards them. And so in this piece, Justin was able to interview Dr. Joshua Wakehart, who is a political science professor at Immaculata University, but he's also chief of staff for the 150th legislative district for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. And so Justin was able to sit down and speak to him. He gave a very nice overview about gerrymandering, but then he also really got into the specifics of gerrymandering in Pennsylvania and how it impacts the state specifically. Just as youth voters might not be aware that registering in different states has different procedures, gerrymandering may impact a different state in a different way. Pennsylvania was actually called to redraw their maps to be de-gerrymandered, and so this piece talks about that. I also just wanted to highlight the piece above it, which does happen to be mine, connecting gerrymandering as a civil rights issue, racial gerrymandering. I was able to sit down with Annie Lowe from the Brennan Center for Justice and speak about that. And so I don't want to get too in detail about the piece, but I did just want to recognize it and mention how in depth these issues do go. It's never just a one note issue where it's just gerrymandering. It's always affecting different people in different ways. And that's what we really wanted to highlight. And so finally, I'll take you through our solutions pieces. And so our solutions are people, teams, and organizations working to address voting injustices. And so as we can scroll down, you can see these include good government groups like the Committee of 70, as mentioned earlier, as well as the League of Women Voters, which was also mentioned earlier, as well as organizations working to improve civic education, such as Generation Citizen and their initiative Vote 16 USA, which was brought up earlier, and also Headcount. And Headcount is the piece that I want to take you through. This is Tyler Kostak's piece. So Headcount is a nonprofit organization that goes to these youth events, such as a concert, as you'll see. And this concert was Willow and Iris, which is actually just Willow and Jaden Smith, Will Smith's children. And so they go to these events and they encourage youth, young people to register to vote. And so Tyler was able to go to this event and conduct an interview with Taylor Moylan, who is a team leader for Headcount. And he was also able to go and volunteer with them. And I just want to scrub through a little bit. I won't show you the video, but I do want to show you just how many people really are at these events. Sorry, I know it's not the greatest quality. And just to show you how much of an impact that they really could have. And also I really would like to show off Tyler's work because the shots in this piece are really, really nice. Great job, Tyler. Headcount was also able to register over 500,000 youth voters since 2004. So that just further goes to show you the amount of impact that these organizations can have towards these issues. Before I go on, I just wanted to first highlight the pieces that I did mention, but also I want to highlight pieces that I didn't mention, just every piece that went into this website. It really is such a robust website full of so many pieces and so much work and effort went into it. As I said, we all created pieces across media, text, audio, video, and everybody should be really, really proud of all the work that they did. So then we have a Meet the Team page. This is just where you can find our pictures of our teams, which were just shown to you on the slide, as well as our own individual pictures and unique bios that we all wrote for ourselves, as well as links to our LinkedIn pages if you'd like to learn more about us. And then, of course, we have a Take Action page where we have a very direct and easy way to register to vote. And then we also have additional resources such as the Brennan Center for Justice and the League of Women Voters, which was mentioned earlier. So that was a little bit of our site. I hope that you enjoyed it. I wanted to wrap up quickly by acknowledging the added challenges that we had this semester. Every project has its obstacles. Some are expected, like technical issues or trouble finding sources, but a pandemic was definitely not on our project plan. So I wanted to take this opportunity to point out the resilience and determination of every student here. Even when sources were falling through and we had no idea how we were going to pull it together, we stayed committed to our message and the story that we were trying to tell. And now we have a finished site that we can be proud of. I know for a fact that this experience has taught us so much about voting, but it has also taught us how to be adaptable in the face of a challenge. And it taught us what can be accomplished when you have a strong and capable team. With that, I want to once again congratulate the fall and spring senior convergence students, as well as the entire class of 2020. And I want to hand it back to you, Dr. Francis.
That was a terrific overview, Emily. Thank you so much. I just want to applaud the efforts of all the students in the Senior Convergence capstone course fall and spring for the breadth of the work that appears on youthvotersunite.com. I hope all of you are able to take a look at that site and really dig around and and check out all the different stories focused on voting justice. A definite important topic this year in particular, but really every year. And so let me just give you a hand. Let's take a pause and give you guys a hand for your good work. Yay, thank you. Okay, great. And then what I'd like to do is hand it over to Professor Kathy Youngman and her students who are going to take us through the Honors Convergence website. Kathy, would you like to go right ahead?
Hi, guys. I saw my class in the gallery view of Zoom, and it's so good to see you guys for like the last time until graduation, hopefully in August. Dr. Francis's students did an amazing site, and now I'd like to introduce the students who are going to be talking about our Honors Convergence site, which was a year-long course. They did it. This class created an extremely complex website telling stories in video and audio and text and photos and information graphics, all about a social justice topic that they really were they cared deeply about. For 15 years, I've taught this honors course, and it really is the capstone of the Justice Matters curriculum at Cabrini University, and this is for communication majors. Few professors have the privilege of working with the same class for a whole year rather than just one semester, but it gives this group of students the luxury to learn and grow in maturity and deep knowledge about big issues. These students spent last fall semester doing a deep dive into the topic of education policy and funding. We even took a free online course from Harvard University about education policy. We had a guest speaker who had worked for equal opportunity in education for many years. And we even invited in several Cabrini graduates who had worked in the past on award-winning capstone sites, and they helped advise the students about things that they could do to make the site better and cope with the stress. And this spring, after recording 65 plus interviews with people, that means that they took recording equipment out and visited 65 people and recorded between 20-minute and an hour-long interviews with those people. They pulled out media pieces and they created the media that you'll see, and they assembled the site. That is very difficult to do remotely, because I'm sure that the students will tell you about that experience. Equally importantly, they came together as a team to create this awesome information-packed site. I'm so proud of their work. I really am proud of it. I know they'll bowl over future employers in their job interviews when they show this site, and it's way beyond what most graduating seniors have to show during interviews. There is a really cool part of this site that is a section that has a photo of each of the students who contributed. You can see the class next to me here on this slide. And it also contains their biography of each student so that employers and you and I can find out more about the accomplishments of these young adults. Every year, the students in the honors capstone class, they elect their own project management team. Everyone in the class gets a management job as well as the job of doing research and creating media. But the buck stops with the project manager. During fall semester, this class selected Sydney Lynch to be their leader, and what a great choice. I think everyone in the class will agree with that. Sydney was an amazing project manager and able to transition from in-person classes to creating remote media. She was on top of every detail all the time. She always knew exactly what was going on with each person's piece, where to find it. She kept the big picture of site creation at the forefront and moved a zillion different working parts all the time to create the site and to meet the goal, the mission of the site. Three of the site's creators will now give you a tour of the site, and I'd like to ask project manager Sydney and website developer Renan Brodnax and content strategist Ariana Yamasaki to tell you more about the capstone project. Sydney?
Thank you, Kathy. So my name is Sydney Lynch. I'm the project manager of Education Equity for All. And over the past year, my classmates and I have developed a multimedia website exploring the root causes and impacts of inequity in the education system. Now it is my honor to introduce our Honors Convergence class. So Ariana Yamasaki was our content strategist who made sure that our content that was created was covered our whole project of the topic. Brielle Toff was our marketing manager who did our audience research and created the plan to publicize our site and generate social media excitement. Haley Thompson is our art director who designed elements of the site and the look of the site, along with Renan Brodnax, our site developer, who was in charge of assembling the website. Aaliyah Maduro was our search engine optimization manager who came up with our site keywords and Ashley Moore, our production manager, luckily backed up all of our interview footage before COVID hit. Dylan Ashcraft was our video media manager who polished up a lot of the site videos and answered all of the video editing questions from all of our class. Michelle Guerin was the photo and infographics manager who advised on and edited all of the graphics and photos on the website. Alex Majorano is the audio manager who created audio pieces and was the site's assistant art director and narrator. Grace Stevens was the writing manager who read and edited every word on the website. James Kelly was the research verifier who made sure all of our facts were correct. And then my name is Sydney Lynch and I was the project manager. So in May of 2019, we met as a team for the first time and chose to explore education equity for the next year, interviewing professionals across the field of education and understanding and learning the value of education equity from each aspect of education. Education is something that we all experience and provides a foundation to become an active member of society and participate in a functioning democracy. When schools cannot provide resources essential to the academic and personal growth of a student, they are facing education inequity. Now, there's a difference between equity and equality. Victor Stevens, the director of the Popel Shaw Center for Race and Ethnicity at Dickinson College, explained the difference of equity and equality using an inclusive classroom setting. He said that equality means giving everyone exactly the same thing. So it is the equivalent of having a classroom where some students are blind and some are sighted, and giving everybody the same book. Equity says that some students in the space are blind, so they need a book written in Braille. So it's accommodating the variety of needs rather than assuming that everyone in the same space needs the exact same thing. In March of this year, we experienced our own connection of education inequity. Due to COVID-19, Cabrini University closed in accordance with Governor Wolf's state mandate of social distancing and all students were sent home. This change of environment had an impact on every student, whether it was issues with computer programs, Wi-Fi connections, or trying to create a cohesive learning environment at home. Not every student was equipped to receive the education they deserved. It was through the passion of the project and willingness to adapt to the situation that eduequityforall.com was built together as a team. I would now like to introduce Renan Broadnax and Ariana Yamasaki, who will give a closer look to our website.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Ariana and I will be giving a brief overview of the website and why we decided to include the media pieces that we did. I, as the site developer, will be discussing the layout, color, and styles of the website. Ariana, as the content strategist, will be discussing what the actual intent behind the media is and how we as a class wanted the media to be received by our target audience. Just bear with me for one moment and I will share my screen. To begin, I will be speaking about each of the tabs we chose. The first is labeled, What is Education Inequity?, which is to explain the general theme of our topic and to teach what the actual meaning of the word equity is opposed to equality. The following tab is What are the Inequities?, which highlights the specific inequities that make our education system so unbalanced and unequitable. As you can see in the subtabs, it highlights the specific inequities we want to dive deeper into and share information on. The next tab is Who is Affected? This tab specifically gives personal highlights to people who have been affected by education inequity and is our most personal section of the website. In the subtabs, we have a breakdown of the myriad of ways that students and educational professionals or the infrastructures of school can be affected. The next is Solutions, which highlights solutions to education inequity, the programs that work now, and how to get involved. And finally, our About Us page, which highlights all of the things that we have contributed to the site and our future employers and social media links. The first tab under the Who is Affected is Disabilities. Both physical disabilities and mental disabilities from IEPs and 504s and non-able-bodied students is discussed in depth in these tabs. The second is Safety. With large amounts of school shootings going on in America, we thought it was imperative to see the measures of schools were going to protect their students, faculty, and staff. Home life. Young people are in many different aspects of life simultaneously. We often think of students in reference to education, but what they go home to at the end of the day, or their academic year can affect them more than what they do at school. College preparation and life prep almost go hand in hand. We want to highlight how students prepare themselves for college or how the education system prepares students. Then we wanted to go into how there were so many different pathways to success, whether it be community college, picking up a trade, or simply entering into the workforce post-high school. Finally, student debt. With the surplus of student debt and the student debt crisis being a huge topic in politics, mainstream media, and among educational professionals, we want to not only discuss the issue, but give students the history, background, and tools to help mitigate the crisis as well. I wanted to highlight the Life Prep tab specifically as we made the transition into it. I wanted to highlight the Life Prep tab as a whole to discuss how we wanted to lay out media. This specific text piece on the left-hand side have subheadings for easier reader viewability, which can cause them to be longer. So we had infographics that have similar information to accompany them and give them information in a more visually appealing way. Further down to the trade section, we have 3 separate media pieces, an audio piece, a Google slideshow, and an infographic. We included all these mediums, giving you similar but different information, all to keep viewers engaged into the content, so it's not the same information and layout on every page. And Ariana will speak further on how we wanted our media and content to intertwine.
For the media pieces, we decided to include infographics, audio, video, and written pieces. As a team, we all thought it was extremely important to have a variety of media on our website. We did not want our website to be text heavy. Many people do not want to sit down and read an article. They would rather watch a video or listen to a podcast. The infographics we created gave quick facts in the form of a story so the viewer did not have to go searching for what they were looking for through a written piece. As a class, we decided to dedicate our website to the late Shirley Dixon. He was a devoted advocate of equitable education for all students. Dr. Dixon earned 3 degrees from Cabrini University. He was a Cabrini trustee, a beloved faculty member, a tireless mentor, and a respected national leader in education diversity efforts. She embodied everything that our website is about, so we thought the only right thing to do was dedicate the website to her and honor her name. During the process of creating our website, we have had our fair share of roadblocks, but as a team, we are able to overcome them. COVID-19 hit right when we were in our media creation process, and that was hard on us because we had to figure out how we were going to share our media with one another. Our communication became stronger due to this. I am beyond proud of my team and our website. We really stepped up and showed that we can do anything despite the obstacles thrown at us. We created a video discussing the struggles we had during COVID-19 and it is on our About Us page, if you would like to check it out. If you scroll down, you will see all of us who worked on the website and our job titles with a description of what we have accomplished throughout our time at Cabrini. We also included links where you can find our work and what we have created. I just wanted to thank everyone who made this website possible. Please visit our website, eduequityforall.com. And now back to Dr. Francis.
Wow, that is so impressive, guys. Congratulations on an awesome site. And congratulations to Kathy, too, for helping to lead you guys in this effort as well. We all know that roadblocks exist. And as Emily mentioned, and as you mentioned too, Ariana, that nobody ever saw this roadblock of COVID on our project plan, and everybody adapted. Everybody thought quickly on their feet. And we still produce these amazing sites that are going to be so valuable for the audiences that are going to encounter them. And so, again, I'll just give a round of applause. We can do that for everyone here as seniors. You guys, you put in endless hours of work on these convergence sites. And what always strikes me when we do this is we think through like what our issue would be. And we think that through, a whole year in advance or so, it feels like, right? Many months in advance, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And students come together towards the start of the semester and you have this issue and it sits in front of you and you're like, I don't know a lot about it. And it all looks murky and squishy and, you can't quite see the defined edges. And then you do your research and you talk to people and you get angry because you realize that there's so much injustice around these issues, and then it spurs you to want to act. And it's just, it's astounding to all of us, I think, as comm faculty, to watch you guys encounter an issue, and through all the tools that Professor Usame was talking to you about earlier, right? All the tools you've been given through your ECG classes and study, through your comm classes and studies, all this comes together in a culmination of this site. Like, by the time you encounter this site, it seems huge, and it is, but you're ready and you're prepared, and now you see the fruits of your efforts. And we just are so proud of you guys for all the work that you've done on these sites. You know, and we just, I can't wait for more people to encounter them and to see the good work that you've done. So just to congratulate you again. It's time for us to think about closing this particular ceremony. Before I give any last remarks, though, I just want to acknowledge the fact that we have one of our professors here in the comm department in transition. So our Professor Usame, our beloved professor, is moving on into a different line of work and is going to be leaving us in the department. You know, I know when so many of you guys as students heard this news, it like was a stake to your heart, and ours as well, as the faculty who had the great pleasure of being able to work with Usame over the last couple years. You know, his humor, his undying like sense of energy. He's always in the comm studio, you know, in the labs, helping everybody with their projects. You know, his work in terms of working for justice, all of this, you know, I just want to say Usame's done a tremendous job. And so what I'd like to do is I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Zurich, who's going to say a couple words about Usame.
Keep it PG, please. I have no idea what's going on, so.
I have to find your picture, though, so I can look you in the eye.
All right, hold on.
There, oh my God. Can we minimize that? No.
Why am I being I thought we're gonna spotlight
you.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a whole chat about you on the side, by the way.
Decorum.
So I prepared a few remarks, but let me just start going back about 4 years. When Kathy Youngman announced that she was going to be stepping down from full-time teaching, and really a shudder went through all of our bodies. Kathy, you know, wasn't just an energetic teacher who always focused on the careers and future of our students, but she also kept us from becoming pompous and stuffy academic department like you'd find some of the other ones, because she had this loud laugh and she would just go around from office to office making sure that everybody was okay. She was like everybody's mother. So we all looked at each other and just said, oh my God, are we ever going to find anybody with any of those skills that Kathy brought to the department? So we put out an ad, and we got tons of resumes. And then we went through them, A's, B's, C's, D's. We finally get down to the T's, and one jumped out. And so Usame's letter, of course, went through his video skills. You know, he's had so much, you know, varied experience. You know, he was a clone of both Dawn and Kathy and Nune, who all went to the same graduate school, a little bit incestuous, but it seems to be a pretty good grad school to turn out those 4 people. But we got to the second page of his letter, and I still remember reading it. And all of a sudden, the words, "I work for the common good," jumped off the page. And I said, whoa, I have to start paying attention to this guy. And then I clicked on some of his links, and I hope he's shared you know, his portfolio with you guys. I still remember, and I just love watching the one video about the World Youth Orchestra and how creative that video was, and how he really put those kids from all over the world with their amazing talent, you know, right in the forefront. It was just a beautifully made video. So that, and then I see, I think it was something like Muslim 101 or something like that, where he was like so cutting edge satire. You know, I just said, this guy, I got to meet this guy because he can do something so beautiful and so moving, but also being, you know, so edgy and fun. And so we brought him in, first of all, on the screen. And needless to say, we just said, hi, Usame, tell us about yourself. And then about 3 hours later, we came up for breath. And you know, once we turned off whatever it was, FaceTime or something, Skype, we just said, there's no question. We have to get this guy. So fortunately, you know, he came with his humor and his commitment and his love. And here come, you know, cue kind of the soft and sappy music right now. We're going to move into the final part. We're all going to miss having Usame around. He's the easiest person in the world to tease. And just, I get so much fun just teasing him. He's always running late. Everybody knows that. I think when he makes an appointment at 11, every student just writes down 11:15 and then shows up at 11:15. And then he comes running late because he had to say something else to the last person he was talking to. So one of my jobs is I hire all the faculty for the ECG 300s. And the first thing I said to Usame was not, I'm going to miss you. It's, I want you to come back and teach ECG 300, because his ECG 300, I think you would see tonight from, you know, his introductory remarks earlier. What an amazing ECG 300 that would be. So make sure you come back. I got my foot in the door before Dawn could hire him to teach communication. So I put a claim on him for ECG 300. And, you know, Usame, I think we speak for everybody that please come back to visit. You never know what you're going to miss out on, because the term fear of missing out was invented for Usame. So he's going to want to come back and see what's going on. Cabrini will always be your home. And thank you so much. Everybody in this department loves you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's the truth. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jerry. You really, you know, encapsulated everything that we think about Usame. We're going to miss you a lot, Usame. But yes, I mean, if Jerry already has you identified there as somebody that he wants to bring back, you know, we'll see what other adjunct assignments we can give to you. And then before you know it, you'll just be here all the time again anyway.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words, both Dr. Zurek and Dr. Francis. My only response is going to be the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's all your generous perception. Because the time is running out, I'm not going to just talk any further. I've already spoken to many of the students privately and at the end of our classes. It's been a great ride. I enjoyed every bit of it. The faculty knows the reason why I'm leaving. So if I could, you know, I was planning to retire here, just like, you know, the other professors, but it wasn't meant to be, but definitely enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I can also say, I know the announcement has not been made. All the future students are in great hands. I can say that much. So I'm feeling very comfortable about that as I'm leaving. Thank you again, and wishing everybody the best of luck and meaningful careers and lives. Keep me posted, usame@gmail.com.
And you have a number of great comments on the side too in the chat, Usame, that you can see. You know, you will be missed.
I'll download that.
Okay, great. All right, so I would now like to bring our ceremony to a close tonight by thanking all of you for being here. I'd like to especially acknowledge the family members and friends who've been watching over YouTube. And it's your continuous encouragement and support that's enabled your loved ones here today to achieve this important honor. So we definitely thank you. And students, we look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully a couple weeks from now in August, where we can watch you walk across the stage, shake your hand, and, congratulate you for a really, really great job. Well done. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and have a great, wonderful rest of your evening. This concludes the program. Congratulations, seniors. Good work, guys.
Unmute and clap. Don't be shy. Unmute and clap.
Yeah, you can unmute and clap.
Congratulations, seniors.
Can we take a picture?
Yeah, we can take a picture.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Hey, everybody stay. Let's take one big gallery view if we can do it.
Will it all work?
Yeah, if you checked in the preferences, 49 people. You can...
Look how great you all look. Oh, I miss all your faces.
Yeah. Look at you. Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at you guys. Kath or Jill, do you want to take a shot or?
I don't have all of them. It's on 2 different pages.
Okay, cool.
So,
hold on.
But let's do it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I only have so many.
All right, this is page 1. Look at smile, page 1ers. You don't know if you're page 1 or page 2. Just smile. Okay, cool. That's 1. Page 2. Page 2, peeps. Here you go.
That's you, Bree. Oh, that's nice. That is really nice.
Yay, guys. Good
you
job.
You guys look awesome.
Yep, we got everybody there.
I didn't hear the camera go up on that second one.
Oh, Jillian.
I got it.
Just making sure.
I'll do one more. Keep smiling. All right, great. We got you. Yay. All right, guys. Well, we'll miss you.
Bye, everyone. Congratulations.
Bye. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. Hope to see you all in August.
That's right. Bye-bye and good work.
Take care.
That Dan Francis, I think we'll remove him.
All right, you guys all have a good night. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.